Hello, I'm back. I had another brief internet outage there. It seems to be okay for now. Alright. Well, I figure we already have the sleeping particles that we use for the animals. Why don't we just use those to represent when the humans are tired? I mean, it's literally like the snoring Zs, the Zs. So it might not totally make sense, but it is something we could use for that. It would need to be something like that. It would need to be like a particle effect or an icon. So I guess it might as well be that. Is that something I do in the state itself? Yes. Interesting. Okay then. Oh wow, these guys have a sleep randomizer too? That's pretty good detail. So yeah, literally just spawn a sleep particle once a second. Just do that for the humans. Whenever they're tired, basically. Whenever they have this sort of debuff. So these timers are always going to be multiplied by the sleep deprivation multiplier, and then we'll just set the sleep deprivation multiplier to 0. Wait a minute. If you multiply something by 0, it's not going to exist. We set it to 1 by default, and then we change it to 3 when they're tired. So we have these timers for thirst and hunger, right? We're going to need an additional one of these. We have the thirst timer, the hunger timer, starvation timer. We have hypothermia, we have heat stroke, so we're going to want... Really? Is that the case for all the animals? I have a feeling it's probably not. It is. It is. Did I add something here to prevent them from... Oh, I guess I figured that's not an issue. Okay, don't worry about that right now. So I'll go ahead and drop one of these in here and call it the sleep deprivation timer. I think I'm spelling that right. Yep. And that's a good point actually. How the hell? Well, this is kind of just a timer that we run continuously. We just run this timer as long as they're not asleep, basically. Okay then. Can I just call it sleep timer, or do I already have something called sleep timer for something? No, I have sleep randomization, so I think I can call it sleep timer. And this timer is just going to go... well, that's right, I guess. It's going to go up 1 per second, and then we need the thing where it actually does something, and both of these can be built in here, like, so I believe a day is 240. It's like 24 hours. So if we want to say that they will, I should do a little bit of research. You see, the thing is, it takes them quite some time to get the tents and everything built at the start of the game. So they're almost inevitably going to become sleep deprived whilst you're doing that, and you have nowhere to sleep. But realistically, even after one night without sleep, you would become impaired, right? You would be sleep deprived after. It's not that big of a punishment if it just doubles or triples the amount of time that it takes to perform actions. Ah, that's true. Yeah, we can't do it that way for constructing. That's the problem. Right, we actually need to slow down how quickly the meters fill up, or how quickly the timer progresses, rather than changing the goal time. Because of things like constructing. I don't know if you can hear the wind, there's like a storm raging right now. Constructing is an example, right? When the carpenters are building the tents, they're like constructing at a rate of 5 per second or whatever, and it has to go up to 100%. If we want to slow down the speed at which they can construct, then we need to like divide that in half or something. So it's 2.5 per second. That's easier to wrap my head around than dividing it by 3. The hell is 5 divided by 3? I don't know. So it will be like 1.3 recurring, I guess. And it's quite a bit slower. For some reason, I've just got the number 3 in my head. I think I should run with it. So we're actually going to have to do it that way. The modifiers, it was actually going to have to... It would be like 0.3. Then the modifier should be 1 by default, and then 0.3, and then we multiply the amount which is added to the progress bar by 0.3. Well, 0.3 is 30%. That's not the same as dividing it by 3. Well, I guess you can just divide, you can have it by 1 and by 3 and divide by. You divide something by 1, you get the same result, right? Same as multiplying by 1, so. Okay, that's the plan, I guess. And then eventually I feel like after some really long period of time without sleep, they should eventually die from sleep deprivation, or maybe not. Maybe, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay, sleep deprivation multiplier. And so, I mean, yeah, even like after a single night without sleep, you would think that they would be affected by this. And then sleep. We just call it sleep multiplier equals 3. Else sleep multiplier equals 1. Okay, so the timer the timer just starts right away. And then after 24 hours, we could double it. We could make it like 2 days, something like that. So they can pull one all-nighter before they get affected, something like that, maybe. A little bit more forgiving. So after 2 days without sleep, or 48 hours without sleep, the sleep multiplier goes up to 3, else it resets to 1. And this is the thing here that increments it. And then we just got to go and implement it like everywhere. How are we going to do that? It's on all of the action timers, so let's see. Here's an example of an action timer. Kind of. It's not really an action timer. This one refills their thirst. So we would want some additional brackets around the, whoop, that's not a bracket. Around this, and then we would do, we're dividing by sleep multiplier, right? So we just need to modify everything like that. So that this goes up much more slowly if they're sleep deprived. Yeah, unfortunately I have to add these brackets every time, so it's going to be a little bit slow. Should pay attention to what state I'm looking at, because I'll easily know if it has a action timer or not. Yeah, if my internet goes down, I apologize. My internet's been quite bad for the past few days. Gonna try and speak to an engineer. Yeah, the funny thing is, the way it's set up right now, a single second of sleep is enough to reset this effect. You don't actually need to sleep it off for a good amount of time or anything. And that's probably how it will stay. I don't need to get overly realistic with it. Birth. I don't think sleep deprivation is going to increase how long it takes to give birth. I think that's a process that takes as long as it takes. Fetch water. Okay, this is one. Yeah, so they'll be like chopping the tree for 3 times as long. They're sleep deprived. I find that kind of funny for some reason. Oh, there's no action timer on that. You can just grab it. Okay. Oh, wait. No, there is. I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay. I thought most things have an action timer. Yeah, I like this. The reason, the reason I was thinking about it. Should sleep deprivation prevent them from performing actions? Well, no, that could be terrible. What if they become too sleep deprived to build anything, and then they can't construct the tents to sleep in, and then they can't sleep, but they also can't build? You've essentially become soft locked. So you would then have to think like, well, which actions should they not be able to perform when sleep deprived, and which ones would they still need to be able to perform? It's just terrible. But this idea of making them perform all of their actions more slowly is perfect. They can still perform actions, just more slowly. What about the hunters? Should it take them like 3 times as long to draw the arrow and shoot? I mean, yes, technically, it should be the same for everything. That is amusing. Even in combat, you know what's crazy is that they'll attack more slowly in combat. which will really turn the tides. Let me tell you, that's going to make a big difference, especially at divided by 3. I mean, divided by 2 wouldn't be as bad, of course. Divided by 3, the guards have a swing timer of 0.75 seconds. So the guards will actually take 2.25 seconds. 2.25 seconds between swings. That's insane. Like 1.5 is like, okay, 1.5. 2.25? They're probably just going to die. I think we might have to reduce this modifier to 2. Divided by 2, not 3. Just purely because of that, really. Like I mentioned before, you know, it'll take them a while to get the tents built at the start of the game. It's almost inevitable, unless you're really good at the game, that there's going to be some sleep deprivation. Why is that? Why is there 2 action timers in this? What is this? What the hell is this? Oh, it's like one's for... Nope. What is this? Is this just... Have I just accidentally duplicated the code? Why are we doing this twice? Also, I don't really know why I'm... adding the sleep multiplier after the time modification. That's a bit of a weird order, but it still works. Oh, this one is for fur. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I had a vague recollection of like one of them's for meat, one of them's for fur, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I forgot to get a drink on the break. God damn it. I better just go grab something to drink. Okay, I'll be right back. Well, there's nothing I can do about that. The way that it works right now. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why does it work the way that it works. It seems overcomplicated, actually. Don't know. That's just how I did it. But the worshippers, they get added to the worshippers list when they're worshipping at the obelisk, and then you just gain 1 power per second for every worshipper on that list. There's no way for me to modify the rate of power gain based on how tired those worshippers are or anything like that. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would be awkward. It might actually be better to convert the worshippers over so that they run their own little timer, like a little action timer, and they grant you 1 power every second, and that way we can just slow it down in the same way as everything else. That is, if we want your worshippers to be less effective when sleep deprived. I'm going to you know, it's like, how does it work? Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Yeah, no, the engineer said it's just a service outage in this area, and it should be resolved by midnight tonight. Hopefully, it'll hang in there. At least I don't need to get an engineer out or anything. Okay. Okay, oh yeah, I was going to make a note about that, because we may want to consider changing how worshippers provide power power to allow for sleep deprivation modifier. It's not a modifier, it's a multiplier. It's not even a multiplier, it's a divider, but I'm gonna call it a multiplier. Alright, we'll think about that. Maybe that's something we want to do. Okay. Shrine, it's the same. No, is it the same for no, it shouldn't be this. Oh, it is actually. Oh, interesting. Wait, how does this wait. Okay, yeah. Just have a look at the shrines real quick. I mean, obviously I can't really. Can't really do anything without changing how these work as well. Right. It's just as long as there's enough worshippers, we just increment it by this much. Oh, and this is not. Oh, I'm not doing delta time compensation on this. This should be like this value multiplied by time multiplied by global delta multiplier. Should be the same for the other two as well. Oh, I'm dividing. Okay. If I did want the... God, am I really going to go back and change it now? If I really did want the sleep deprivation thing to be a multiplier... Fuck it, let's make it a multiplier. I do prefer that, to be honest with you. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back through them all, but it's okay. Sleep timer, blah blah blah. Multiplier is by default 1. Nope. By default 1. And then 0.5, because we're saying we just want to double the amount of time that it takes to perform actions when sleep deprived, because we realized it's going to have a pretty severe effect on combat. I think it takes a hunter 1.5 seconds to draw an arrow, so it will take 3 seconds to draw an arrow, and it will take the guards 1.5 seconds to swing. I like the timing. I quite like the timing on it as well. It's like if they miss one night of sleep, they're okay. That second night, if they don't get some sleep, that's when it's going to kick in. I think that's probably going to be quite good. But yeah, I got to go back and sleep multipliers at the first mention of that. So we're going to change how this is implemented, and I'm going to do it in the what I perceive to be the right order as well. I'm actually going to do it like that. Okay, so we take this value, multiply it by the sleep multiplier, and then multiply the result by time, and then multiply that by delta multiplier. Perfect. So there's apparently some sort of an extension for GameMaker Studio 2 that will do delta time compensation kind of automatically, which is cool. But also, I think it's kind of good that I'm doing it myself for this first project at least, so I really get to learn about it and like learn what delta time delta time compensation is, and having had experienced doing it myself, that will kind of make the extension seem like so much more valuable in future, I guess. Maybe the next project. I doubt I'll ever do another project in GameMaker, to be honest with you. I think I'll be switching engines and probably never coming back after this one, but you never know. You never know. And I'm going to grab that. And I'm going to go through them all. Just looks more readable to me as well, like this. Okay, that's it. We're back to the beginning. Alright. Now we can keep going from here. Let me just update my notes because it's not... Oh yeah, here's the guards attacking state. Wait a minute. There we go. There it is. I'll probably just use an alarm for the particle effects. You know, like, I want to phase out alarms for most things, but I've been, like, I realized maybe using alarms for particle effects is actually good. Then again, it would still change with the time scale. Generally, I'm obviously updating those based on time scale. Maybe I don't want to do that. I don't know. Anyway, there's something to be said for, like, you know, not doing delta time compensation on particle spawners, because if you're having performance issues, we probably want less particles anyways to, you know, help prevent those performance issues. That's probably something I could figure out in the options, maybe. Like a almost like a level of detail setting. Hey, Conzio, how's it going? Some sort of a level of detail setting where you can actually choose how many particles it spawns. Do low level, you know, lower the amount of particles, or increase it. That would be something I could probably add to the graphics options, as well as the ability to change the resolution, which is going to be an absolute nightmare, I'm sure. I did try tackling it once before, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. Sure, fire away. That's what I'm here for. Happy to answer any questions if I can. Depositing. Is depositing instantaneous? Probably not. Nope. Takes 2 seconds. Okay. Do you have any advice for beginner programmers? Just bought a course on Udemy. Learned HTML, so CSS. Now you're learning JavaScript. You really want to make applications. Do you have any advice? What would I do in your place? I think learning JavaScript is probably good. You want to make applications? I would just, start making stuff. The documentation is your friend. Just try and make some small projects and stuff, Sounds like you don't want to do games really, so it's hard for me to advise. I basically learned programming by making this game. Taught myself how to code by making this game. So I would say just make stuff. I don't know anything about Udemy, sorry. I think, I think learning from, I don't know really. I do think, going to school for this stuff is a good idea, but I don't know about Udemy specifically. Maybe I can do that. I could reduce the frequency of their wandering behavior if they're tired. Maybe another little detail that we could do. Don't know if I've ever seen this in action. I probably tested it when I first made it years ago, but I haven't seen this in action anytime recently. I don't know if it even still works. I guess it would still work. I think extinguishing is instantaneous. Yeah, it is. Drowning. Should they drown slower if they're tired? I don't think so. I think if anything, you would drown faster. Mm. What is that? Oh, really? Huh. If I modified this one, I could kind of make them sleep in longer. Actually. I think that's what this does. Yeah. But then again, no, it wouldn't work because the debuff gets cleared as soon as they go to sleep. So no, it wouldn't actually. The multiplier would reset. Already, okay. Oh, what's this one? Felling. Oh, chopped. What? Action timer greater than. Okay, so if I modified this, the sound effect of the time between the chops would be greater as well. I didn't notice that on the first pass. What's this one? Healing, oh. Okay. The one that I missed. Shaman takes them longer to cast heals. If they're sleep deprived, it'll go from 1.5 seconds to 3 seconds, same as the hunter's shooting. And that is it. I do need to actually define those variables. Guess I can go along with these two. Sleep timer and sleep multiplier. I'm not quite sure where that should live. Track. I suppose it is something that we're tracking, so I guess it could live in there. There's some other sleep stuff. We'll put it with that. Am I spelling that right? Multiplier. And that should be 1 by default. So, you're not asleep, dead, or harvested And the sleep timer is greater than or equal to 480. Sleep multiplier will be 0.5, else it will be 1. And the sleep timer goes up 1 per second. A day is 240 seconds long. That seems good. We just need a way of like visualizing it. And for testing purposes, we could set this to like 10 seconds or something, right? To start with. And I guess we could just add the particle spawner in here. It wouldn't be consistent with how it works on the other creatures if I used an alarm for this. Yeah. But it does mean that I need an extra variable. And it would be like sleep P timer. That's not a very good name. Particle timer. And we would basically just do the same thing that we do with the action timers and do sleep particle timer plus equals this. So it goes up 1 per second. And then if sleep particle timer greater than or equal to 1. And let me go lift that particle. I'm in the wrong event. We're going to add this, and we're going to say sleep particle timer equals 0. And now we're going to spawn a sleep particle X position. X position, Y minus offset plus height divided by 4. That's probably about right. Maybe? No. We would want, I think we would want to do X minus X offset. That's probably good. And then, so the way we have it set up right now, after 10 seconds, they should become sleep deprived. Narcoleptic, and then we shall hopefully see those particles and also see that their actions all take longer to perform. Good test of that would be like, does it take twice as long for them to drink water? Because even eating and drinking is slower. I think normally it takes a second to drink and 3 seconds to eat, so if it takes 2 seconds to drink, we'll know that it's working. Here we are. Ha! Okay. The positioning is not quite right, but there we go. They're all very tired. Okay. And I figured it's just easy to reuse this existing particle effect that I made. And let's see. Are they slower at drinking? I can't really tell. I don't know. Oh, failed to retrieve list of chat users. It's not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be doing that. I have Twitch mode disabled. God damn it. I could just tell it... Well, it shouldn't even be trying to retrieve the chat user list. That's the thing. Oh my god. So what if we... That seemed like a very quick 10 seconds to me. What if we made this like 30 seconds? Or how long would it need to be in order for them to drink once before getting sleepy? Let's see. Oh, that was pretty much spot on. Let's make it 60 then. Put one of them near the stream. Make it an easier test. No, don't go back. Yeah, it's pretty quick normally, isn't it? And maybe I can just like hold on to one of them until they get tired, right? Let's see, is it slower? Yep, that takes about twice the time. Awesome. So it's all working. We can set this to 480 like we intended so that they don't become sleep deprived until after 2 days, and the oh. Well, maybe if you just deleted that. I don't know. It's going even further above because I'm subtracting it. I thought it was adding it. Honestly, I thought I was doing this. Oh, I'm gonna need to reduce this again. That's not bad. It just needs moving to the right a bit. Probably by like a quarter of the width. That's pretty much perfect, I would say. You could change you could go absolutely crazy and change the position based on which direction they're facing, but that seems a bit over the top. I'd say this works for the most part. Not quite sure how it looks on like different sprites. Pretty much fine. Okay, so there we go. We'll have a way of telling when they're sleepy. It may be a bit silly, but it's better than nothing. We can always change it eventually. Okay, so all of their actions will take twice as long to perform when they're sleep deprived. That is cool. And we don't want that to happen until they haven't slept for 2 days. Nice. Cross that off the list. We could add that to the patch notes even. I haven't added anything to the patch notes in forever. humans will now become sleep deprived after 2 days without sleep, causing their actions to take causing their actions to take twice as long to perform. Causing it to take twice as long. Causing them to take twice as long to perform actions. I think that's right. Humans will now become sleep deprived after 2 days without sleep, causing them to take twice as long to perform actions. Sweet. Sweet. Cross that one off the list. That took what, like 10 minutes? Probably a bit longer than that, but that was good. Okay, and then we were thinking about, do we want the rate of power to be reduced when worshippers are worshipping? If the worshippers are sleep deprived, do we want you to gain power slower? Probably. Okay, it's quite easy to do for that. It's quite easy to do for that one, but that's easy to do for both of them, really, when you think about it. Yeah, we can do it. Okay. Cross that one off the list. Prevent objects being placed so close to portals. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do earlier. Let's do that real quick. And the visual, so the visual feedback for this is in here, but there's also building. There's both moving things, picking things up and moving them, and building new things. You don't want you to be able to do either of those within like 4 cells of the portal. This is just, I mean, to be honest with you, it could be just like 2 cells. I'm surprised with about the trees, actually. Wait a minute. The tree cell width. Does that mean you can place a tree right next to another tree? I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that. I don't think you can. Maybe it's like it has to be greater than a cell width. Because if that's true, then it's already fine, actually. No, it's a collision rectangle. Can I place this tree? Huh. So it's fine. It's fine. As long as there's a gap in between, it's fine. We have a bigger area because like the worshippers will stand around the shrines and the obelisk and stuff. So I need a bigger area that's clear for them. But yeah, it's mainly for pathing because they can path to trees. I don't want to block. Hey, Gen2 Games, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. How's it going? Where's the raid notification? What's going on with the notifications? It's supposed to go, Leroy Jenkins. I'm gonna have to fill in for the frickin' notification sounds. What's going on? I don't know what's going on, but welcome on in, guys. We had a great stream. What have you been on with? My name's Flames. I'm making a colony simulation in GameMaker Studio 2. We've just implemented sleep deprivation, bug fixes and refactors. That's what I like to hear. All right, enjoy. Thanks for the raid. Much appreciated. Yeah, we just implemented sleep deprivation into the game because there was no penalty for not sleeping for the longest time. And now it will take them twice as long to perform actions if they haven't slept for 48 hours. So an additional incentive to get the tents built and stuff. Thanks, Gen2. Appreciate it. He's trudging off to get some food. Enjoy. And now, well, we were just checking because I was worried that you could place objects too close to one another, which would essentially block potential, paths. But it doesn't seem that you can. So everything's actually fine and we don't need to do anything, which is great. I don't necessarily understand how it works or why it works right now, but it works, and that's good enough for me. So what we actually want to do is one thing is that the worshippers are not really affected by sleep deprivation right now. I'm affected by sleep deprivation right now, but the worshippers are not. So we want to slow down the rate at which you gain power from the worshippers worshipping at the obelisk at the center of camp, which is actually a monolith. I just can't stop calling it an obelisk. I will forever be calling it an obelisk. And also we want to slow down the rate at which they unlock shrines, portal stones, and expansion stones if they're sleep deprived as well, which just means shifting this over to use a different method, basically the same method that everything else uses. It's going to be easiest to implement this on the obelisk first. So I think we'll do that first. But what it does currently is it adds them to the worshippers list. And I guess we're just not going to do that anymore, but do we? That's a bit of a pain in the butt. I've got to strip this whole worshippers list out. I think that's fine. That's probably fine. As long as we don't have a repeat. I'm not converting it from a list to a Boolean. Is a Boolean what I think it is? A Boolean is just a whole number, right? I'm still not totally clear on those. A float is a decimal point? A number with a decimal point? Or is a Boolean true and false? What am I thinking of? I don't know. So we're going to do we're going to implement an action timer for this. Action timer plus equals, we need billions of brackets. 1 divided by 60 multiplied by the sleep deprivation. No, it's called the sleep multiplier because it's a shorter name. Multiplied by time. And then that needs to be multiplied by global delta multiplier. Okay, and then we're going to do if action timer greater than or equal to 1, global dot power. Why didn't it auto-complete that? It's definitely called global power, right? Or is it called God power or something? God power. I think I had to rename it because it's something to do with the save load system. I have a vague recollection of doing that recently. Global God power plus equals 1. And because this is modified by the by the sleep multiplier, it will be multiplied by 0.5 if they're sleep deprived. And so that will be 1 power every 2 seconds. instead of 1 power every second if your worshippers are sleep deprived. So yet more incentive to get your shit together and give them a place to sleep. So I'm a little bit paranoid about the global worshipper list. Worshipper range? Is it worshipper or worshippers? Plus we need to actually like strip out all the stuff from the... I mean, it would work now, but we just don't... We don't need all of the stuff in the obelisk anymore. Yeah, that is weird. What do we even use that for? I have no idea. Apparently the obelisk has a perception radius. I don't know why my stream notifications aren't working, guys. I've had some internet issues today, and I think... Sodus, I really appreciate the follow. I just got an email telling me that you followed the stream. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. I don't know why the obelisk has a perception score. Doesn't even have eyes. Or ears, or any way to perceive anything. It's a rock. Okay. Worshippers. What is it called again? Literally was just looking at it 2 seconds ago. I've got the memory of a goldfish. It makes programming fun. I'll tell you that. Oh my god, Jesus Christ, that's quite a lot. That's a lot. Okay, well, shit. I'm going to have to strip out every reference to the worshipper list now because we're not going to use it anymore for anything. So that's going to be fun. Might as well start here with the obelisk. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, maybe we're going to keep the worshipper list and just use it to determine whether the sprite needs to change. Yes, that's a good idea. Let's keep it for that reason and that reason alone. Beautiful. Worshipper tick, that can go. Worshipper tick. Get out of here. And we do some sounds and blah 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 blah. Okay. Alright, so we actually got to put that back in. Over here. Worshipper. Yeah, it's super confusing. We have one called the worshipper list and one called the worshippers list, and then we have an active worshippers list. It's, I'm not the best at naming things. I've improved, but a lot of this stuff was written a long time ago. Oh my god, okay, so worshippers is the one, worshippers is the one. Okay, what is the worshipper list? If it's yeah, if it's not worshipper, what is the worshipper list? Is that the thing that just tracks how many worshippers you have, or? I have no idea. Probably. That's probably what it does. Okay, but we're just going to use this to determine whether we need to swap the sprite and whether we need to fade in the sound effect or fade out the sound effect, basically. Okay, well that saves me a bit of time. I'll take it. Oh, that's it. That's literally all we need to do to get... And the interesting thing about this is it used to be like you'd gain an amount of power every second equivalent to the number of worshippers worshipping at the obelisk, right? And it would be lined up like that. Whereas now they're all going to be slightly offset, because if they all start worshipping at a slightly different time, it's going to be more like, you know, it's going to be more out of sync. They're going to be out of sync with one another, which could be interesting. And so the same, basically the same for, okay, but the thing is with, interesting. You know what? I think we're just gonna we're just going to change it so that each one of them each one of them is like filling up the progress bar themselves by some amount, which would be the amount that it normally fills up by per second divided by 3, because it's 3 worshippers. It also is interesting because that would, well, they always fill up to 100%, so actually if a particular shrine required more worshippers to unlock, it would unlock faster. It might require more worshippers, but you'd unlock it faster, which is an interesting change and something we'd have to consider if I ever wanted, like, some shrines to require more worshippers than others to unlock, but to still unlock at the same rate independent of the number of worshippers. Well, you can just like, what? You can just take the amount that you want it to increase by per second and divide that by the number of worshippers. And then each one of them is contributing, you know, the exact percentage required so that their collective efforts total the amount that you want. Right, that's how we can do that. Okay. So that's this one. So the responders list is still, well, the responders list is the responders list. I'm talking about the worshippers list. With 1p this time, and local, not global. You know, just because we need it to be even more confusing. So they don't, okay, currently they don't do anything in here. Let me grab this whole thing then. Let me just grab this. I mean, we don't even, no, we don't need to worry about path position, because they've already reached path position 1 in the previous state here, and then they do all of the stuff, and then they switch into the unlocking state, and then this is the unlocking state here. Okay. Okay, so the action timer starts going. Action timer greater than or equal to what? Where's the... Why are we not resetting the action timer? That's not going to end very well, is it? There we go. Okay, unlock. And instead of increasing God power, we want to, what the hell do we want to do? We want to do target dot, it's probably called something like completion, or what would it be called? Unlock progress. I think it might be called progress. Progress. Shrine. Progress less than completion, yes. So we would actually, and then this is the value that we were doing previously, and we're going to basically remove this completely. Let me grab this and comment that out. Do that for all 3. Okay, back to the human. And we're going to do... Paste that in there. Target dot progress plus equals this weird amount divided by... It didn't like that. It's because I'm doing divide star, whatever that means. It's like a comment block or something. I've literally never used that. So we're going to take this amount. Why am I not dividing inside of the brackets? What's going on? Inside of these brackets. GameMaker is lagging a lot right now. I think it's just when I do that thing. Take this amount, divide it by ds list size target dot shippers with 1p. Yeah, sometimes I use 2p's, sometimes I use 1p. Just to be extra confusing. I'll be honest with you, I think the American spelling of worshippers makes more sense than the English spelling. I don't often think the American spelling makes more sense, but in this case, when you say worshippers, it just sounds like it has 2p's to me. So for once I actually agree that this is the wrong spelling in my mind. Okay, but I'm using it some of the time. Okay, 0 point blah 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 divided by the number of worshippers blah blah blah. Okay. Beautiful. That is awesome. And that's it. That's literally it, because we reuse this state for all three of the different types of shrine, or whatever you want to call it. So I guess we're done. I guess that is that. That took like 5 minutes. I'm not used to things taking 5 minutes. I'm used to things taking days, if not weeks, if not months or years. This is pretty unusual. It swings from the two extremes of like you're doing things that take days and days and days, and it's just, never ending. And then once you've finished with all that, suddenly you swing back into like, and now we're just doing all these little things, little design changes and balancing and tweaking and polishing, and it all takes 5 minutes, and it just feels really weird. And then inevitably at some point you swing back into adding some huge new feature, and it takes 3 weeks. Such is life. So, I guess a good test to see if this is working would be to just, well, let's sleep deprive them. Where is that? There we go. So let's just set this to 0, so they're immediately sleep deprived, and then we'll see if the worshippers are like slower at providing power. And I suppose we should also test unlocking something as well. Although quite sure how I'm just gonna have to compare it to my memory of how quick they were before, I guess. Okay, let's have a worshipper. Oh shit. Is my power even increasing? Where is it? No. It's not even increasing. Wow. I thought I just forgot to spawn the particle effect, which, in all honesty, I did. But my power isn't even increasing. That is concerning. Why is that? Huh. Let's keep that there, just comment it out. Are they not at path position 1? What? What? The fuck is going on? What the hell is this here for? Just so we don't do any of this processing if any one of these scripts triggers. Wait a minute, there's an exit. Why is there an exit? Well, I guess previously it didn't matter. Oh. Wow, I don't usually have an exit in the States like that. That definitely caught me, I mean, that still shouldn't cause any issues, right? I mean, well, it's gonna stop them from doing this. Yeah, for sure. Don't quite understand why it reset their path position. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Nope, my power is still not increasing. This is crazy. Since when? I mean, I understand if they return to idle, we reset path position to 0 and end their path. What's causing this guy's path position to reset? Well, it's not just that, but something is ending his path. This doesn't happen in like any other state. What is different about this? More of this thing, maybe? But we're definitely in state worship, are we not? Excuse me? The hell is going on? Well, it just couldn't be that easy, could it? Of course not. You've got to be kidding me. Possibly something to do with it being ranged. Almost everything else is melee. Maybe because it's a ranged action. State does not equal state. Everything appears to be fine, which leads me to believe, although their path position is not reading 1. Oh shit. Oh yeah. Huh. There you go. There you have it. I forgot that there was a second state for this. There is. Okay. My bad. Yeah, I thought it was a single state deal. Okay. There we go. I'm gaining power at a rate of 1 every 2 seconds. Because they're sleep deprived. We just need to spawn the particles. There we go. Okay, and the shrines and stuff should be fine because I actually put it in the... I put the code in the correct state for those. Can we disable this hideous debug text now, please? Okay. That's cool. I like it. Let's open this expansion stone. And it's gonna go really fucking slowly. Because they're all sleep deprived. Yep, it's going, but it's slow. Speed up time, 8 times speed. Jesus Christ, that is slow. Yeah, you don't want your worshippers to be sleep deprived, let me tell you. That's actually really good because you've got to unlock all 4 portal stones, right, these ones, to open the portal to the next level. And if you don't build your tents, your worshippers are going to be sleep deprived. It's going to take forever, which is, I never even thought about that because we've often kind of had this issue of like, how do we incentivize the player to actually build their camp? You know, why don't they just, you know, leave for the next level immediately? You can do that pretty much. I mean, you could just unlock the portal stones and go. We made everything else optional. But that is brilliant. It's gonna be really slow if you don't give your worshippers a place to sleep. I love that. Okay, that is awesome. That is freaking awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, we can cross that off the list. Okay, and we can cross that off the list. Well, we have done everything I set out to do today and more, which is pretty good going, if I do say so myself. I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with this build. So happy, in fact, that I dare say we could crank the version number. Let's crank it. Oh my god, version 0.5.6? What a milestone. We're getting there. We are hurtling towards version 1 at a rate of knots. We're absolutely flying. Hell yeah. Okay, I don't think I'm going to do any more stuff today. I'm really pleased with that. I am probably going to chill out for the rest of the day. Hopefully get a... Don't say it. Don't. You're going to jinx it. Hopefully get a better night's sleep tonight. And I'll be back for some more game dev tomorrow. As we head into the weekend. Looking forward to that. Probably be doing a drum stream Saturday afternoon. Although I am going out for a bit on Saturday. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid. Looks like we're going to be raiding Brewer. Going to be raiding Brewer today. See what he's up to, see how things are going. With Shattered Reality, I think that's the name of Brewer's game. It's a RPG. It's an ARPG survivors-like hybrid made in GameMaker Studio 2. Brewer's a great guy. He's helped me out a lot on my project, and it's just a really, really chill stream. So thanks for joining me, guys. I will be uploading this build right now for Ko-fi members to download. So if you haven't already, head on over to Ko-fi, become a member, get early access to development builds, and support the development of the game. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.